Okay, so you've probably heard that real estate is a great inflation hedge. It's one of the most commonly repeated financial advice in the personal finance space. And so the concept is simple, right? Buy property and inflation will work in your favor. But here's a question that I have for you. Do you actually understand how investing in real estate actually helps put you on the right side of inflation? And I don't mean that you just simply know that it works, but the actual mechanism that makes it work. Because if your answer is something vague like, I don't know, real estate prices go up, that is not a strategy. That's an observation. And an observation simply isn't enough to make a confident financial decision. And so today, we're going to dive deep into just that. Okay, but before all that, if we've never met before, my name is Ernest. I'm a technology professional, a US Air Force veteran, a self-made millionaire, and a real estate investor. And this is my second video in a 4-part series talking about the relationship of inflation and real estate. And if you haven't watched the first one, I highly recommend it. We covered exactly how inflation and taxes silently eats on your savings in a way most people don't even notice until it's too late. But this video is fully self-contained. Everything you need is right here. Okay, so there are 3 distinct mechanisms that make real estate especially beneficial during inflation. We're going to go through each one with real numbers so that you walk away understanding why this strategy works and not just believing that it does. And so these are the 3 mechanisms. First, fixed rate debt is worth less over time relative to inflation. Second, your investment property's rental income rises over time. And third, appreciation that simply makes your property worth more the longer you own it. Alright, so let's start with the first one, which is what happens to fixed rate mortgage debt during inflation. When you borrow money at a fixed interest rate, the monthly payment you need to make doesn't change. The blend of principal and interest you pay every month changes, but the total monthly payment stays exactly the same. But here's what does move: the value of each dollar you're paying back to the bank. In an inflationary environment, $1 next year is worth slightly less than $1 today. Those reductions in value add up to a meaningful amount on a fixed rate mortgage. So suppose you take out a 30-year fixed rate mortgage to buy real estate. You need to make monthly principal and interest payment that does not change for 30 years. Now factor in inflation. In 10 years, the loan amount and monthly payment is going to be significantly smaller in terms of value or purchasing power. You are now repaying something that costs meaningfully less in real terms. And that is inflation doing the work for you. And that is not a loophole. This is a fundamental feature of a fixed-rate financing in an inflationary environment. It's one of the primary reasons why investors have looked at leveraged real estate as an inflation strategy for decades. The debt gets lighter while the value of the asset actually increases. And so what this means for someone making a decision right now is straightforward. If you are waiting to invest in real estate because you are trying to time the market, expecting interest rates to drop, or waiting until everything in your life falls into place, you are also waiting to start your investing clock. And you can't make up the time the inflation could have been working in your favor during the whole time you held off. Okay, so now let's talk about the second mechanism, rent growth. Rents are not fixed. And you've probably experienced or are currently even experiencing this yourself. They get adjusted when you sign a new lease, and rents have historically tracked inflation. And in markets where supply is higher than demand, rent growth even exceeded inflation. And so this matters because it means your rental income trends upward while your biggest single cost, which is your mortgage payment, stays the same. Okay, so here's what that looks like in practice. Say you buy a single family rental in 2026. Market rent for that property is, say, for example, $2,000 a month, and your mortgage payment is $1,500 a month. That is fixed for 30 years. Now, assume that rents grow at 4% annually, which is roughly in line with current inflation. And so by year 5, that same property is generating approximately $2,450 a month in rent. And meanwhile, the whole time, your mortgage hasn't changed. And so the difference between your monthly rental income and your mortgage payment has grown from $500 to approximately $950 a month. And that gap increased without any action on your part. It happened because your mortgage payment was fixed and your monthly rental income followed inflation. And so this is the compounding advantage that makes a property with thin margins in year 1 look very different by year 5 or any future years after that. The gap between your income and your biggest expense widens every year that inflation works for you. And so for someone evaluating a rental property right now, the cash-on-cash return you have at closing is the lowest starting point. It only increases from there. It's the worst version of what that deal will be, assuming you've selected a market with good historical rent growth. Thin margins in year 1 in the right market often turn into great margins by year 3 or 4 without changing anything about how you operate the property. And believe me, I've personally seen this in my rental properties. The third mechanism is home appreciation. Real estate values tend to increase over time. And while no single year or market is guaranteed, the long-term historical pattern across the US is consistent. Home prices have risen at a rate that tracks or modestly exceeds inflation over long periods of time. But here's where it gets powerful. Over long holding periods, even modest annual appreciation compounds into a meaningful wealth increase. And so a property that grows at 4% per year doesn't grow 4% and stop. It grows on a larger base each year, and those gains stack up. So let's run the numbers. You purchase a property for $400,000. Suppose it appreciates at 4% annually, which is roughly in line with historical averages in a stable market. In 5 years, that property is going to be worth approximately $487,000. That's $87,000 in wealth without you doing anything. No extra payments, renovations, or active management. The asset simply held its value and grew alongside inflation. And so going beyond the 5 years and looking at it over a 10-year horizon, that same property is going to be worth approximately $592,000. And so the longer you hold, the more that quiet compounding growth adds up. And so this is the mechanism most people think about when they say real estate builds wealth. But few people actually run the numbers when they say it. But here's the honest situation for you right now. National home appreciation has nearly stalled. It's running at about 0.5% as of early 2026, and some markets actually have slightly negative appreciation. And I know, that may not sound good in the short term, but zoom out, and the big picture is way different. Every time there is a flat or declining appreciation in the history of the real estate market, it has been followed by a recovery cycle. And the investors who own assets are the ones best positioned to take advantage of the upcoming recovery cycle. There's a famous saying among us real estate investors that we like to say, time in the market is more important than timing the market. Flat appreciation right now is not a reason to avoid investing in real estate. Honestly, it's a perfect time to invest due to fear and uncertainty in the market, driving other home buyers and investors to sit in the sidelines. Alright, so here's another saying for you. Warren Buffett once said, "Be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful." Alright, so it's time to bring all three mechanisms together. When you own a property on a fixed-rate mortgage in a market with increasing rents, you are holding an asset where your monthly mortgage payment goes down in value every year, while your rental income is rising in line with or ahead of inflation. And the property itself is building equity through long-term appreciation. And these three mechanisms all work at the same time for you. They don't require for the market to be hot or for you to speculate. They work in moderate, stable inflationary environments, which is exactly the environment we have been in and are likely to remain in for the near term. And so the reason that I want you to understand these mechanisms is because these concepts are timeless. Headlines change, market conditions shift, and interest rates fluctuate. But the underlying economic logic of fixed-rate debt, rising rents, and home appreciation doesn't go away. When you understand it at that level, you can evaluate deals and market conditions on your own terms. And you don't have to wait for someone to tell you whether now is a good time to invest or not. In the next video, we're going to get practical. We're going to look at the specific entry points available to someone with an active income with no investment properties yet, including what the capital requirements look like, what the financing options are, and which entry point fits which financial situation. If you're following the series, that's the one where the strategy starts to become really actionable. So subscribe to the channel so you don't miss it. And if you have questions about anything we covered today, drop them in the comments below. I read everything. And if you're considering investing in real estate, see the link on the description below. I created a personal assessment for you that tells you everything you need to know before you buy an investment property. Alright, that's it for now. And as always, here's to your success. Keep learning, keep investing, and make your money work for you.